It's a real pleasure here today. It's an honour actually to have in our company and talking about their lives and the industry in general, Roger Lee and Tony Lee from the uncomparable Brother Lees.
Are you reading it on there?
That's that actually, I think we're going to have some fun today. That actually hit the headlines in the 70s and long before then. Lads, when did it start exactly?
Well, it started really as two village groups got together in 1963.
Oh, so it was long before the 70s then, before
I was in a little village band called the Wildcats. Tony was in a group called the Team Beats. Then Tony came over to our rehearsals one day, and he brought with him his guitar, obviously, and a copycat.
Oh, yeah.
And he started playing some Hank Marvin stuff. And it sounded just like Hank Marvin.
Oh, it's the man, baby, I'll tell you.
We didn't like him very much. That's just
oh, right, yeah.
The old Echo or something it's called.
But the copycat, that was one thing. Was there a little rubber band in it or something that actually went around? Little tape went round and round.
Round and round, and we were so impressed with that. And he could also play Apache behind his head.
Yes.
Oh, the old guitar behind the head bit. Yeah.
Many years later, we incorporated and
we used to actually in the end.
So in effect, right at the beginning, it was it was serious stuff. It was like
as I say, it was two local groups in Norfolk. One from Aylesham, one from I used to live in a small village called Bristol in North Norfolk.
Your typical band.
And Tony and I got together, and then Michael, third Brother Lee, who was Tony's brother, he suggested we join his group, who were then the Vikings, but they'd split up. And so we became Barry Lee and the Planets in 1963.
Yes, I recall Barry Lee and the Planets. I've actually got the record on. Is it on Columbia on the Green Columbia record label?
Right. Our first record. You're the one.
Yeah.
What was the night we actually drove over to Bristol and it was snowing? And you were on your bicycle.
I was on my bike,
absolutely snowing there. You couldn't see him.
Oh, right.
Absolute torrent of snow.
I saw my girlfriend in Corpusty, and that was a 4-mile trip, and I was snowing like anything, and suddenly this car pulled up and said, "Do you want to?" Michael got and said, "Do you want a gymnastic?" And that was the beginning really of Barry Lee and the Planets, as far as I was concerned. I played rhythm guitar up to that point, but nobody. We didn't have a bass player, so Michael played rhythm, I played rhythm. And then I said, okay, I'll play bass. So I finished up playing bass. But that was 1963. And I think our first gig was at Wells Church Hall in February 1963.
Was it really?
Yeah. And the first song was The Shadows. Bum 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 bum. Is it dance song? Bum 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 bum.
Did we really? Did I?
I remember that one.
That was our first.
I find it so hard to believe. And when I listen to all these Hank Marvin, because we used to do all that as a comedian.
Yeah.
And when I hear them, people say there's funny, fancy stuff in there.
It was all. Yeah. I mean,
you are very talented guys. There's no disputing that. Because even when you switched to the comedy act, there was still a lot of talent in there musically, wasn't there? And that was the fabric, that was part of the uniqueness of your act.
Well, half our career was, maybe not half, but a good proportion of our career was as a musical act, as a group. So
as a transgression, was it?
Yeah, I mean, we as I say, we did our first single record at Abbey Road when the Beatles were doing Sergeant. We were made our first record when the Beatles were making Sergeant Pepper's album.
Incredible.
In '67, and it was an old Four Seasons song. Because we used to do a lot of 4-part harmony. We were very much a harmony act.
I remember John Lennon actually walking down the corridor and sent us one of the Brother Lees, isn't it?
Oh, right. Did you actually meet John Lennon? Barry Lee's Let's get it right, There must have been a point in your career when there was an evident turning point where you thought, okay, we're a serious band, we're doing quite well, and suddenly something must have clicked for the comedic side of things when you thought, hang on a minute, we've got something special here.
Well, the beginning of the comedy really started with Barry. Barry, the lead singer of the act, he started doing an impression of PJ Proby with the tights and everything, and suddenly the dance they all stopped dancing and started looking at us. And we thought, yeah, we like this. And that was really the beginning. So Barry, we were playing Barry already for the beginning of the comedy. Barry was with us through to about 1972, and then he left. So we were go for a solo career. And we were all doing impressions at this time. And suddenly we got the idea, hey, why don't we do them all together? Who thought of that idea? Nobody knows. But that's an idea which we just came up with. And from that, we started getting television.
So it's something that happened completely by accident, would you say?
Nearly by accident. One of the biggest problems we had was I used to make a lot of mistakes on stage playing guitar.
I noticed.
Have an impression and with the words. And in those days,
Yeah.
and the funny thing was, Mick used to actually tell me off quite seriously on stage in front of everybody. Until he suddenly realised one day that maybe we can make a bit more of this. We can actually use it as a plus instead of a minus, because that's quite embarrassing being told off on stage in front of 100 people that you just played a chord wrong or you just said a word wrong. So
It must have been a time when you thought, hey, we've actually made it big. What was the point in your career when you thought, hey, we've made this?
I think we, as I said, we were doing the triplicate impressions, and we'd done a bit of television, which didn't really register. I think the first television we ever did which registered was when we did the Generation Game, and we did the Max War routine. Wonderful routine we did with this lovely, rather larger-than-life lady, and she came on and did the Max War walk with us, and all she had to do was say good evening, and she was in. We did the walk. The Max War walk, and we came to her, and Bruce was there, and she said all she had to say was good evening as Max walked. Good evening, and she said good evening.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
And Bruce says no, lower, love, lower. So she gets down lower and goes good evening.
Yeah.
So, but that particular that's 1976 that Generation Game, and the following went out, and the following day we were at a club in Scotland. And the club was absolutely
Out of heaven, he's up a mountain it was. Just the one little social club up a mountain. And there was about 4 houses around it.
it was absolutely packed.
Well, actually, when we got there was a stream of people all the way round, winding round about 3 or 4 times.
And they'd been fooling the club saying, is this the group have you got the group we saw in the Generation Game last night?
So that made an impact, actually, the Generation Game then.
That was the big one for us. That's,
Bruce Forsyth's Generation Game.
Was that 28? Something like 28 million?
yeah, well, certainly 22, 24 million people.
Oh, I probably yeah.
We did get 28 when they on a strike. But yeah, there was 20 million plus.
And at Norfolk quite a bit, and we suddenly got this show in the Dolce Vita.
It's all relative. Like when you start as a group, the first thing was Chroma Rollerdrome. That would be the first one. You know,
Chroma Black.
if you made Chroma Rollerdrome, you were there. Right?
Yeah.
And then you turn professional, and then the next one would be, say, Boston Gliderdrome. We'd work
So
Boston
it
Gliderdome.
was a standard kind of stages.
There were stages, and
Yeah.
then as you progressed, and then you started doing the nightclubs and all the great cabaret clubs. So that was the next stage, and then TV was like the icing on the cake. And I say, doing that Generation Game was like the equivalent now for having a hit record, really, for us. It was like
Do you remember that roller drum, actually? The Cilla Black thing? We actually had to support Cilla Black on the old roller drum.
The Cilla Black.
The Cilla Black, and I think she probably had one record then or something. But Cilla came out and she practically got booed off the stage. They showed us to come back again. and so we had to come back on, and she went off.
Tony, you are actually you were the fool of the group. You know the idiot. What are you saying that? Sorry, but you were actually you were the one that actually messed everything up. You know when the guys were in full flow, and that was really funny. Actually, that was part of the act where you come on.
Yes, I had to really work on that to get things wrong.
But I think people warmed to you, and in a very short period of time, people gathered that you were the
That's my job.
stooge.
I actually told you earlier about this, and I was actually talking about you, Raj. And so, Raj did fantastic singing impressions. And I was watching something the other day on the old video, and And I felt sorry for him because he's done this lovely voice of Roy Orbison's impression.
Well, he has got a really good voice, actually.
Behind all these little things up and doing an impression of Michael Crawford.
I know that you are a very good singer, and I do rate your voice actually.
Thank you.
On the records and everything else. But were there times when Tony came up behind you? There he goes again, ruining this fantastic voice. Where you thought I could really punch him. There must have been some times when it was annoying, or was it part of the act? Did you get accustomed to it?
It was part of the act. And, I mean, there's so many good impressions anyway. So many good singing impressions around anyway. I mean, it'd be foolish for me to think I should be doing it on my own because it was an integral part of the act, if you like. And what made it funny,
Brilliant.
what the contrast between me doing it serious and Tony messing it up was the act. And if Tony was on his own messing around, that wouldn't be funny.
Oh,
He did that most of the time.
Yeah,
Me singing on my own wouldn't be great. That'd be okay, but combining the two made the act. And in fact, we developed routines where Tony, with Old MacDonald's Farm, was a case in point where we used to do impressions one after the other, and the whole routine was based on Tony. We had to do quick impressions and Tony getting it wrong. So we'd be doing, say, Margaret Thatcher, and he'd come around with a fez on.
You actually did it on the Royal Command performance.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was Old MacDonald. That's. Hello,
Guys, you have performed in front of royalty more than once. What was the most prominent performance that you remember that you did? Was it a Royal Command performance?
Well, we did 6 or 7 royal galas, various locations around the country. We did the Channel Islands. I remember we did one. We did Coventry Theatre. We've done the Palladium. We did different ones. One which sticks out in my mind would probably be the one where
There's one at Purfleet
we did one
with Cliff Richard.
Yeah, we did. That's right, to commemorate the Silver Jubilee of the Queen.
Oh, crikey!
We did one at no, that was not Purfleet. It was one near the
Dartford Tunnel?
yes,
Why not Purfleet?
Purfleet. That was at Purfleet. You're right.
Perfect. That's it. Yeah.
You just get it right. Purfleet. I'm thinking Camberley. Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
Purfleet. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And we had Cliff Richard, Arthur Askey.
Arthur Askey.
Oh, yeah.
That was a great Arthur Askey pattern. Yeah, brilliant, wasn't he?
We did some, and we met. The nice thing about Royal Command is you meet a lot of other acts you don't normally meet.
Mm.
You're on, you just like this one in Channel Islands. We had like Telly Savalas was on it.
Oh, that's weird, right? Yeah.
The Telly Savalas.
Yeah.
My family would be thrilled with
Yeah.
that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Kojak.
Kojak, yeah. So he was on the bill, and so many Matt Monroe, fantastic. And you met all the acts who you admired over the years. You see that they'd be on the same bill as them.
That must have felt absolutely amazing for you.
And then we did like the London Palladium. We did on the Johnny Mathis tour, that fantastic Johnny Mathis tour we did. With Sasha Distel, So yeah.
Some really great names, but of course you were one of those names up there.
Well, you're going back to like when variety on television. So there was lots of variety on television, so which gave us the vehicle to go on TV, and then lots of nice cabaret clubs. So we would then go people see us on the TV, and then we'd work the cabaret clubs. The scene is completely different now. There is no variety as such on television, and I wouldn't know how an act like
It's a great shame.
It's a great shame, and I wouldn't know how an act like ourselves then could start today, because as we said, we started in village. We started as a group in village dance halls, village halls, and progressed into, a comedy act.
I was telling something the other day about all of the shows on television, no matter what, if it's a game show or anything, would have a cabaret act in the middle of it. Mm. Name that tune, all them sort of things. You'd always have a cabaret in the middle of it, where it's just plain.
Yeah, and we were very
Yes.
we were very visual as well, weren't we? We were very much, and of course,
Superbly done.
We couldn't get away with it on TV now, because it wouldn't be politically correct.
I was going to ask you that actually.
Yes, because I mean,
there was a lot of stuff that you did was
yes,
a little bit below the belt, but it was great stuff.
You know, look, you think, well, crikey, how did we get away with it? But at the time, it was purely innocent. I tell you how innocent it is. We used to do an impression of the 3 degrees. And
I remember
we worked with the 3 degrees, and we did it, you know, and they absolutely loved it, didn't they? Well, we put black tights on, put the big...
I remember that.
Put the big wigs on, big lips, they all popped out when we started singing. And that
absolutely hilarious.
They on side stage fell about laughing. Now, you know, that wasn't, you know, politically correct now. It wouldn't be seen as... But, you know, you think, well,
we actually went to do it on one of the Generation Games, and they actually we actually rehearsed the show, and halfway through the show they said you're not allowed to put the tights on.
A bygone age, and I think we've
a different era,
and you know, we got away with a lot which you couldn't do today because of afraid of upsetting. But people who are genuinely, you know, like the 3 degrees, they didn't get upset at all. So if they don't get upset, why should anyone else get upset?
And there must have been something that sticks out in your mind. You think, oh my goodness, you know, can you let us in on something that went drastically wrong? Can you recall anything?
Yeah, when Mick went through some traffic lights. When they were on red, we hit about 3 different cars and finished up in the forecourt of the pub, upside down.
We had...
Oh, is this real? I thought you were joking.
No, that is for real.
Oh,
yeah,
crikey.
We used to drive around, well, I don't know how many comma vans we had, the old comma vans we had, which we must have turned at least 3 of them over.
Yeah, we did those too.
So in effect, it's... you know, thank your lucky stars, I'm talking to you today. Yeah.
How we survived one or two those traffic accidents. Yeah, we went through
that was a good one.
Traffic lights went and
traffic lights out and everything we did.
Yeah.
Did you not have a chauffeur?
Well, eventually we did. We had a... When this is where we're talking about sort of pre-TV days we're talking about now. And then when we
first went up north on it.
Yes, that's right. But then when we had a, you know, bit of success, we used to drive. We had a nice chauffeur and a Mercedes, and that was nice.
This is what you were talking about, Andrews, earlier on, wasn't it? When we were saying about your grounding for the night.
Oh yes.
We had to go up north, and we had to fight up there because when you go up north, they're a different entity.
Not easy, was it?
They're quite funny people in themselves, the way they talk and do things. And if you don't hit it off with them, you're like you said earlier on, you can get booed off and thrown off.
That was great because going back to the...
I think they're lovely people, though.
Oh, fantastic.
Let's get one thing straight. I do know a lot of Northerners.
We used to.
And, you know, they're really lovely, friendly people.
But
they know what they like and they know what they dislike.
That's right. Yeah. But we used to do a week up in Newcastle. And the start of the week, we'd leave Norfolk about 6 o'clock in the morning in the comma van, arrive at Spennymoor Varieties Club for lunchtime. We'd go in the club. It'd be a room full of men watching about 6 strippers, and then we had to go on. And
can you rewind that, please?
and then sometimes you'd be a little hole in the dressing room, but we didn't mind if the strippers watched us changing.
Oh,
but you go out there and there'd be a room full of men reading the news of the world, and if you got their attention for them just to put the paper down and look at you, you thought, yeah, you'd cracked it. But that would be the start of our week, and then we would do 7 days in Newcastle area, and we'd do a social club in the evening, finish up in the nightclub. So we do a double in the evening. So
15 shows in a week.
15 shows in a week.
That's how we were working. That's how we were grounded.
Yeah. So, you know, so when success did come to us, I think we were well prepared for it. You know, and you know.
So in effect, it's not something that happened overnight.
No.
You worked for your success. The age-old question that's always asked about this industry is, does fame change you? And I hope you don't mind me asking. When eventually you gained all this popularity and you came back home to Norfolk, did you change?
I don't think we did. No, I think you know, your wife and family, they bring you back to earth again. And I still used to go down to the club and have a game of snooker or whatever. You know, I don't. As I say, it was a gradual process. If it had been like a hit record where you're suddenly nobody and then you're a big star overnight, then it could. But I think because it was such a gradual process, He didn't change us, and
I think we were good old Norfolk boys, weren't we? And I think.
I think you still are.
I don't think that didn't affect us that much. We just come back and we just carry on as if we did the generation game. And I think we just came back and carried on like people say, oh, we saw you on the generation game last night. And you go, oh yeah, okay. You know, that really was like that.
people can say bad things about us, but one thing I would stick up for us: we were never big time. We never bragged. I mean, we were good listeners when we were in Pro Digs and other acts. I always felt we were good listeners and people listened to other people's stories. We were never.
But you were massive. You were massive as an act.
It's not in our nature.
Yeah.
To be big time in any way.
I'll still come back and I'll talk to mum and dad like normal, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're normal people. That's
Right. As long as you can be, but yeah. But yeah, no, I don't think we changed at all. Maybe other people see us and think we did change, but I can remember people saying to me, "Are you in the brotherly? You just like you are just like as you always have been." And I say, "Well, that's a compliment because there's no reason to be any different."
I think the worst of it was is we earned a lot of money, and we one day went out and bought like 3 Mercedes.
Yeah,
Mercedes Sports, a coupe, and a big long-wheeled Mercedes.
Yeah.
And then we turned around and bought another Mercedes just to travel to Brooklands on.
Yeah.
Just for the hell of it, And I think, without knowing, a lot of people must have looked at us and thought, oh, them big-headed lot, they got 4 Mercedes now.
I don't understand that.
But we never really thought about it, did we? Yeah, we should.
Yeah, well, as I say, we started as a 5-piece act. So Michael was the founder member of the act, and brother Tony here, or his brother Tony, and Angus. People say to us, "Are you really brothers?" And I used to say, "Only one of us."
My brother's and I.
Yes, and part of the routine.
Every time.
So Michael was the founder of the act. Brother Tony, Angus was on drums, Barry Lee was the lead singer, and myself was bass player. And sadly, Barry left in the early 70s, and then Michael unfortunately had a serious accident in the early 90s, so he had to leave the act. And from sort of 93 onwards, we had different members join the act. And then I left in 96, and you finished in 2000.
2000, yeah.
Yeah. So we had a good run. Sadly, wasn't the same as we started with.
It never seemed to work.
But
After you lost the main.
Yeah, the original 3, there was a certain amount of camaraderie between us, which. We had good times. Don't get me wrong. We had great times.
Yeah, there was no bad feeling anywhere, and we really did get on.
But we loved them all.